Stuart Bloor. I've said that lots of times. That's the River Severn behind me. I've also said that on a few occasions, but I'm actually chub fishing, and I don't think I've said that in one of my videos. My angling journal, and I'm watching my rod tip now, that's why I'm looking away. My angling journal started in 2003, and for the first few years it was articles, and back then I did quite a bit of chub fishing, and that was probably my favourite fish at the time. Yep, certainly was. But over the years I've got a little bit sidetracked as we do in angling, and I haven't actually fished for chub for some years, but on the River Severn, barbel fishing recently, I've caught some nice fish, and that has prompted me to actually come and give the chub a go. So I've just set up, first cast, got to see how it goes today. It's actually a very, very cold day, and there's ice everywhere. The banks are rock hard. I've put my bank stick in a hole that was already there, so I've had to try to wedge it in, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get it through the ground. It's like concrete. The water temperature, 4 Celsius. Now that may not seem too bad for chub, but I was actually here 3 days ago fishing for barbel, and the temperature was 8.1, so it's fell from 8.1 to 4 in just 3 days. That is a sharp drop, but as we often say, you have to be in it to win it, and I'm here hoping to tempt one of these Severn chub. My intention today is to move along the river and drop into a few spots. I think they are spots, not swims. The place I've got in now, I think you need to be half mountain goat to get down here, so I've passed the test anyway, and I'm at the water's edge. But like so many of these inaccessible places, they're actually good from a fishing perspective, because I've got a tree in the water just downstream, and that's where I'm going to cast to. Let me show you my my setup. As you can see there, I've got a cage feeder, and it's packed with bread mash, and then I've got a float stop on there. Well, I have just a little bit further down. There it is. And then, as you can see there, bread on the hook. So that's my approach for today. Just quite simple really. Dropping in a few pegs, swims, spots, moving along, and hoping to entice that chub. If I can get just one fish today, I'll certainly be over the moon in these conditions. I've moved to another spot, and I've just had a bite, just a slight bit of movement on the rod top, but it's definitely a bite. So that's really encouraging, and certainly in the conditions, because not only is the water temperature, as I said earlier, but the sun's out. It's a clear day. You know, one of those winter days where it's sort of cold, yet at the same time the sun comes out, warms things up for a short period of time. A lot of the banks now are starting to thaw out, and I can see steam rising up. But with it being a clear day as well and the sun out, definitely not ideal conditions. So I'm pretty encouraged with that actually. Just shows, doesn't it, you have to be here to get a fish. You never get a fish sitting at home, do you? Obvious thing to say, of course, but it's there, isn't it? As you can see there from the previous clip, the sun is now starting to drop, just dropping over the hill on the far bank, and it'll soon be dusk, and then of course dark. So what I'm going to do now, because of the treacherous nature of the bank, is that I'm going to settle in this particular place that I'm at here. There's a willow tree. Well, it's an overhanging one. It's growing out into the river, and I'm going to fish just off that. I'll show you that actually in a moment. I'll put the camera on that. But most importantly, although obviously it's a chub holding spot, if they're in here, then there's a chance that they'll be in that particular place. But most importantly, it's a safety aspect of fishing here, because if and when, I'm always confident, I do get a fish, I can drop down safely and net it. Always important if you fish on your own, which I do all the time. and certainly fishing into dark and in conditions like these, absolutely vital that we choose a place to fish, particularly once it gets dark, that's safe. No fish is worth risking our life for, is it? And all of us at some point or another that do the sort of fishing I do end up in the river, but usually it's just our feet that gets wet or our pride that gets dented. We don't want to put ourselves in a position where we have deep water in front of us. If anything, it's just shallow and we just end up to the ankles or something like that. Important really to stress that. So this is the spot that I mentioned, and as you can see, there's the tree, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit now, and you can see where the current is, and there's obviously slack water here, so I shall be aiming just to put a bait about there, on the crease, as they say. It's my ground bait bucket, as you can see. It's pretty empty at the moment, but what I do is I bring some in a separate bag. This is, as I said, this is the mash that I'm fishing with. It's actually a product that you can buy, although maybe not at the moment. I'll tell you all about that in the article. But I bring some in a bag that's not mixed, so then I can just put what I want for the session and ongoing during the course of the session, so that I don't have any waste at the end of the day. I do have a bait freezer at home, and very often I can take things back and stick it in, but ideally just mix what I need and then go through the session that way, so I don't have too much over by the end of the day. I'm still waiting for my first fish. Just made a drink. One thing I would emphasise as well, particularly this time of the year, is that it's important when we're out and about to, you know, got a text coming through. It's important to get plenty of hot drinks on a regular basis. I always take a flask with me anyway. I've got 1.8 litre flask, so that keeps me going. It's important to keep those drinks in us, because conditions like this, you know, we are out and about on the edge, so need to look after ourselves.